You already know what time it is. Each one teach one. Let's dive into it. And let's take it back to the 90s. Yeah, the early 90s, maybe late 80s, 2000s, early 2000s, where you didn't really have too much of a choice unless you were paying out of pockets to get your surgery. But what if it was other ways? What if it was ways that was a lot easier to do, but had some big risk behind it? Tonight, we're going to be interviewing some people who took those easier risks. Silicone. Yeah, I know a lot of you know about it, which a lot of people know that as pump or basically a faster route. You had ways of doing it, from hotel rooms to in someone's house, or my favorite, which I heard, pump parties. We're going to go in depth, so warning, caution, might be some triggers. A lot of people have lost their lives trying to get the right body that they wanted. Yeah, today is a lot easier because you have so many surgeries in the palm of your hand to the point where you can get them for free. Back then, nobody wanted to think about that. They just wanted to be fab at the time. As I'm waiting here now to hear from each story, from each individual when they decide to come on, I also wanted to share about a new show I'm going to be putting out on Sundays called Confessions, where I will be interviewing women who did sex work back in the day. And the first show that I want to air is called This Is My Block. Interviewing the girls who went from state to state and asking them how was it when they did sex work in another city or another town. Alright, y'all. Give me some time because I'm still waiting for my guest to arrive. As always, Facebook is continuously messing up. So for now, if anybody wanted to share their story, please.
Hey, what's up?
Miss Africa.
What's up, Mr. Lyric? You muted yourself.
Miss Africa, what you know about silicone?
Silicone, like injections.
Yes.
I don't have any personal experience with it,
Mm-hmm.
but I have I've seen the phases of it throughout my life. I I know a lot of women who, um, I know a lot of women who have gotten silicone injections um, on, and what do you call it? I don't know what they call it, but just like like in those dark and seedy places, those sketchy places with those sketchy individuals, and I've seen people have some really bad side effects from it. As we know, we've seen people like K. Michelle, who was very vocal and vulnerable about her story. So I've heard a lot of those stories. There's also something on Botched, the TV show Botched, that I saw. There was someone who went through some really bad experiences. And then, of course, we watch Pose and things like that. So we got to see some of that. But the interesting thing is this: even with all those horror stories, I know a couple of people who get those treatments with what they have described to me as a high grade medical silicone. Um, and I'll be looking at them sometimes like, okay, God, keep me from doing that because it's cheaper than a BBL, and I could shape my body better than I don't like the, not that I don't like it, but for me, I don't necessarily want a BBL look. So just being able to look like my mama, like my aunties, I know that the silicone injections, if they're done properly, if there's a such thing as being done properly, that they could give that look, that really natural look. And so, right now I'm not like fiending to get it, but there have been times in my transition where I have felt like, I've literally had to pray, okay, God, please don't let me go lay on that girl's table and get them injections, because it's hard sometimes. And I don't think this is a trans issue. I think this is a people issue. Specifically for me, it's a woman issue, because there are a lot of women shaped just like me. And so if I'm looking to have if I'm looking to assimilate, or, for lack of a better term, so that I can have the appearance or the look that I want, then I really don't have to do anything at all, because there are women who look just like me. Um, but then you see those women who they just give it up, it just looks so good for them, and I do feel a sense of, and I've never been one to claim gender dysphoria, because that's not necessarily my truth. I think that's the term that science, the medical, pharmaceutical science industry, kind of makes us, some of us, use that term to justify who we are.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never subscribed to that language, except to qualify to get my hormones.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but when it comes down to getting my body shaped the way I want it, I definitely felt a sense of dysphoria. I just wouldn't call it gender dysphoria. Maybe I don't even know. Is there another term I heard? Like, could it be considered body dysmorphia?
Yes.
So there's something, but no, I've never experienced gender dysphoria. Um, I've always just felt like, I'm not trapped in the wrong body. It's just that my God makes trans women. my God, my God makes trans people. So I don't have to be feeling like God made a mistake or nature made a mistake. I feel like I'm in tune with my journey. This is who I am. But to back on the subject matter, I don't have any of my own personal experience with it, other than it's very close to home. Like, I could literally make one phone call and I could probably be on the table before midnight,
Yeah.
you know. So it's a reality in our
Yeah.
community, and
It is.
and I'm looking to hear more people's experiences. I'm not trying to be convinced of anything. I think I have the facts. Long term, you know, this material, whatever material it is, because it's not controlled, it's gonna shift.
Yeah.
And it can cause blood clots, and it could cause, you know, just it could turn into poison. You know, so I mean, I'm very hip of what it is and what it does. You know, but I just, you know, I'm just curious of what other people are gonna say because I'm interested in other people's outlooks.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard plenty of horror stories. I've heard stories of women who pumped who have lost their lives going to get pumped themselves. So
Yeah, I've heard that too. And then I've also heard stories of women who pumped other women and the women died and they ended up going to jail, going to prison.
yeah, well,
Hola, ¿cómo estás, mi
Hola,
amor?
Bianito.
What's goody? What's going on?
So pretty.
all right. Can you let everybody know who you are and what you do?
What? Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Melanie Sherry. My pronouns are she, her, hers. Currently, my role is I'm a founder and, well, co-founder, co-executive director of House of Tulip. It's an organization here in New Orleans, a for us, by us, Black trans led, that provides zero barrier housing to trans, gender non-conforming, and non-binary individuals in the state of Louisiana. And I wear several other hats within community, not just this one. But yeah, that's just a little bit about who I am, and we'll dive more into as we, have conversation tonight.
Okay. All right, Miss Africa, thank you for joining me, and I'm about to get this started with Miss Mulan.
What's going
All
on,
right,
Brody?
how you doing, sis?
Good,
All right,
good.
let's dive into it. So you know, in the
Hold on,
early
give me a
'80s.
second. Let me run to the back. Let me just turn down Coco Melon because that's my daughter back there. So let me just turn it down so I don't be drowning my ear out. Hold on.
All right, got you, sis. Hey, y'all, how y'all doing? Like I said before, if anybody want to tell their story, just hit that button, and I'll let you in.
Oh, no, I was telling you about it. She should do. Okay, so I'm back.
All right, let's dive into it. So in the late '80s, early '90s, throughout the '90s and early 2000s, we had something called silicone that made it way easier for the girls who couldn't get their surgeries and pay out of pocket. So let's get your experience on it.
Okay, well, I know you said late 80s through the 90s to early 2000s, but we also have to understand that silicone is still relevant in our community today.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just not trans women who decides to go get pumped, and that's the term, pumped. Um, you have gay men who also desires a certain physique, um, and they have been under the same needles that many of us who have had this experience have been under. Um, so I just want folks just, maybe trigger warning for some people. I am a very open person. My brother can attest to this.
Yes.
We have conversations outside of, this kind of forum. And we've pretty much talked about everything under the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And he knows, as well as other people who have been in space with me know that I'm very open. I believe in transparency. And I'm happy that my brother has created a space where we can come and be vulnerable and kind of dive into conversations. Although none of these conversations are new, um, but I think that they should definitely continue as long as we see um, the outcome that silicone has.
Yes.
And so, um, where do I start? Um, I would just also just tell folks to buckle up because this is going to be a bumpy
Yeah.
ride.
Yes.
So I started my transition at a very young age. For folks that don't know, if you haven't picked up on my accent quite yet, yes, I'm from the South, the deep South. Like I said before, New Orleans is home base for me. It's why I'm born and raised. So I started my transition very young. Before I even knew what all of this was, before I had the vocabulary or the really understanding. Um, you hear a lot that people feel like they were in the wrong bodies. People feel, that they were different. Um, and although those things, my story parallels with a lot of, individuals. However, um, it's also slightly different due to my upbringing. So I started my different transition very young. Um, I didn't start medically transitioning until 15. And thankfully, I come from a family who is very supportive. Um, and what was understood really didn't have to really be explained. However, they also understood that they had some learning to do. It was definitely open with going on this journey and roller coaster with me through life. And so I'm thankful for my parents. I'm thankful for my siblings who always allowed me to be my authentic self, even as a child. And so, with that support, I was able to transition at a very young age. So, like I said, at 15, I started medically transitioning. I did have to have parental consent. So, my mother did have to come to me with my doctor's appointment. And at the time, I'm 15, so I still had a pediatrician.
Mm-hmm.
And she sat down, she talked with her, and she agreed for me to move forward with hormone replacement therapy, which is HRT.
Yes.
I was on HRT for most of my young youth and adulthood. Today is something that kind of is not in my toolkit, but however, um, I did experience that journey as well for many years of having to inject myself every week. I mean, every 2 weeks with hormones. Um, I did engage in sex work at a very young age as well. I was introduced to that community shortly after I started transitioning. And so, um, of course, I engaged in that line
Yes.
of work for a very long time. And me and you kind of talked about like how that even really came about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at the time when I first started, it wasn't necessarily survival sex work.
Yes.
I did it for various different reasons. One, it provided me a sense of independency.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to now not have to ask my mom for money or my dad for money and this, that, and the third. I was able to provide for myself the things that I wanted. And this is before, mind you, I'm only 16. I'm still a youth at this time. So my mind hadn't really developed quite yet to wanting or desiring other things outside of clothes and, just keeping up with the aesthetic.
Yes.
And with keeping up with the aesthetic will lead into how I was even introduced to getting pumped or the silicone doctor or the seal lady or all those terms that we kind of consider ourselves. And I don't know if y'all can hear, but that's my daughter in the tub right now. My husband is bath time, so
Yeah.
she's having her good little time in the tub. But it'll lead into how I got introduced to silicone. So, as well as me engaging in sex work and all the things that come along with,
That lifestyle.
that industry.
Yeah.
It was a roller coaster within itself, and I explained to you back then, or at least earlier, that back then sometimes I missed those days in a sense of what they provided for me in that time.
Mm-hmm.
And although like sex work was always dangerous, I have to admit, and I wouldn't be myself if I didn't tell y'all that it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Um, me and many of my girlfriends today, who I have really great, close, deep relationships with, all kind of started off on the block. That was where we found sisterhood, the camaraderie that took place there, along with some drama. But we had our times. It was true sisterhood back then. And I kind of explained that to you earlier when we had conversations around, uh, the solidarity that many of us had, the loyalty that many of us had amongst each other. I got pumped um, before I personally did it myself. A few of my girlfriends had already started exploring those options for themselves, and in a sense, over time, it was like a rite of passage to your womanhood. It didn't matter how cute you were or how fishy or passable you were. If you didn't have breasts, if you didn't have certain things going for yourself, baby, they were quick to say, "Little boy, go sit down."
Mm-hmm.
And so, and these are coming from mostly older trans women, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, even in that sense, them invalidating your womanhood sends you a message saying, in order for them to see me, in order for me to be able to be in the in crowd, in order for me now to be able to enter the arena to compete, I have to now do these things. And so for a minute, I watched my girlfriends, get their bodies done. And of course, and they were also kind of like my lab rats in a sense, because girl, you do it and let me see what it gives, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so many of my girlfriends laid down, they laid under that needle, they got their work done. And what I would say, they appeared to be okay, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so after a few sessions of seeing my girlfriends do it, I finally built up the courage to do it myself. The first thing I got done was my breast. I got my breast done at the age of 17. By this time, it was shortly after I graduated from high school. Mind you, I told you I started moaning at 15. So by that time I did get my breast done, I did already develop a nice, cute little set of mown breasts.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew that if I didn't do it then, I wasn't going to do it, right? And so I went out, I hustled. Baby, I did what I had to do that night on the block, and I made the money that was required for me to have my base treatment.
Yeah.
And for girls that been underneath the needle or gotten pumped, they know your first treatment is your base treatment.
Mm-hmm.
And they also gag you because when you first get pumped, you look down, whether it's your breasts, your hips, or your ass, you look down and you be like, my God.
Mm-hmm.
But what you don't know, after a few days and that swelling go down, you be like, bitch, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
And so that would, and now you've already experienced the discomfort or pain levels, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for most of us, at least for me, what I would explain when people say, well, did it hurt? I won't necessarily say it hurts. Especially to me, it's a pressure.
Yeah.
It's more of like a pressure you feel than more so really pain. I think the pain probably come with the more initial poke or stick when the needle, breaks that first layer of skin, and then once it gets down into you, and she starts to inject the silicone, you kind of feel this pressure. You may even feel kind of like a burning sensation in the sense, but it's not something that's, at least for me, it's people's pain tolerance are different. You know, some people can't even get through a tattoo.
Yeah.
So I can't even imagine them really getting through a pumping session because, mind you, when you get this done, there's no anesthesia involved.
Yes.
You know, you're in either somebody's basement, in somebody's hotel room, in your house,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere discreet in an undisclosed
Yeah.
location, and it's all done in the in the hush hush. Um, there are times where some of us, we even have what they consider pumping parties.
Mm-hmm.
If you're familiar with them, you know it's kind of like, in a sense, back in the day when a girl used to come through with Tupperware.
Yeah.
The you know the girl, the guy, or whoever's doing the pumping, um, will schedule a time and a date where they'll be in your city. And they'll let you know, if you can get a couple of girls together, I'll look out for you on the back end.
Yeah.
And that was the thing.
Yeah.
So you'll get your girlfriends together. Mind you, she just made a quick two, three, maybe $4,000 real
Yeah.
quick. Real quick. She done made a quick stack or two.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick. And after they get their sessions and after they get they do deals, you will go in and she'll give you something for the free.
Mm-hmm.
Or you may come in with your little coins too, but you don't have to pay as much as they did because now you get a little discount because you brought money to me,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's also, you have to be mindful with that, and I'm gonna get to that because this is something I'm speaking from experience. I'm speaking from my experience. So this was the thing, um, and I know it's still to be a thing, right? As long as, yes, we have come so far with medication in regards to surgeries and what folks can access, resources, and so on and so forth. But there's also, we have to be mindful that there are community members who are lives in certain parts of this world who still doesn't have access to these things. So we think about girls from New York, and we think about girls from Philadelphia, we think about girls from Los Angeles or California in general. We think of girls in Atlanta or, some cities that are progressed who have, these things that are set in place for folks to access.
Yeah.
Whether they go through organizations or whether they go through their girlfriends who have certain information, um, it's accessible.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of folks who live in rural areas, right? There's people who live in rural parts of Virginia. There are people who live in rural parts of Louisiana. There are people who live in rural parts of Pennsylvania. There are people who live in rural parts of New York. There are people who live in rural, and rural means, bitch, outskirts, bitch,
Yeah.
far away.
That's
With
right.
civilization, barely none, you
Yes.
know. Resources scattered.
Mm-hmm.
Gender affirming care, where?
Yeah.
That's what it's giving, right? And so these people still have to sometimes travel to their nearest city or state that provides gender affirming care just to access
That's right.
those resources. And so for folks who still cannot afford to get to these spaces or make
Know about
these trips or go to these appointments, if their next option is, look, I can give Miss Thing $500 to $1,000, and she, you know, and then a lot of folks get, the results. Like, again, the results folks get, you see them
it.
instantly,
Mm-hmm.
and so, and you don't have to worry about going through paying for the surgery, then have to paying for the anesthesiologist, and then have to paying for a place to stay to recover, and all of these things. Baby, the cut is cost tremendous. It's cut tremendously,
Mm-hmm.
and so these are the things that many of us. These were the options back then, right?
Yeah.
And so I got pumped. My first time doing it, like I said, it was my breast. I had my breast done twice. And then I moved down to the lower parts of my body. Once I got down to my butt, I never had my complete entire butt did. What I did is what they consider having your boy dents pulled, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was I had a nice little butt on me already. However, they still had them little dents on the side. So what she did was she filled them out, gave me a nice shape.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember when I got pumped, and I showed up at my mom's house because mind you, I said, me and my mom are like this, that's my girl. She knows everything about the
Mm-hmm.
doll. And so when I showed back up to my mom's house, and my mom looked, and mom said, what did you do? What did you? And so I told her, girl, I got pumped, girl, And my mama said, got pumped. And so I explained to her, and I showed her, and I'm freshly pumped too. Bitch, I'm freshly pumped. When I'm telling you freshly pumped, I still got the cotton balls glued on, fresh pumped.
Yeah.
And you say cotton balls. Yeah, I'm going to get to that too.
Yes.
About how the whole session goes. But I get to my mom's house, and bitch, you can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing, baby. I'm so fine, swole boots.
Yeah.
And my mama looking, and I show my mom, and my mom like, child. And so I explained to her, mama immediately disapproved.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the fact that she was mad because I had breasts, because mind you, she signed off. She was so totally supportive of my transition and me doing all the things that I wanted for myself. But she wanted me to be safe, and she
Yeah.
wanted me to do it the right way. But also back then, my mindset wasn't what happens when I'm 31.
Mm-hmm.
What happens, what life is going to be like, what I'm going to look like at 60. These questions wasn't something I was thinking about. It was very, baby, let me get through the day. I'm going to worry about tomorrow. And that was just really the mindset. Mind you, again, a youth.
Yeah.
Um, and so my mom immediately disapproves. And I will always get pumped. And I still continue to get pumped even after that first initial mom saying no. I initially got pumped. I still continue to get pumped afterwards. But because I knew my mama wasn't a fan,
Mm-hmm.
I will always pop up afterwards. And I remember one day my mom came, and the seal doctor and my mama passing each other just like this, mind you. She's leaving my apartment, my mama coming to my apartment. And I'm upstairs, I'm laid across the bed. Again, cotton balls stuck to me. And my mama was like, so you doing that shit again? I told you need to stop doing that shit. You don't know what these fucking people putting in you. And she gave me all of this spiel, right? She's let me have it, telling me, how unsafe, anything can happen. Woo, woo, woo. All of the things. Girl, mama. Child, this is my rite of passage to womanhood, honey. You don't understand, girl. You was born with all the things of the things. You is the cream of the crops, bitch. I'm trying to model myself after you. Like, girl, what's the tea? Like, girl, like that's just me chopping it up, doing the things and the things with my mom. And everything was fine. Lyric, when I tell you everything was fine for a long time.
Yeah.
Until things weren't fine.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where things get a little complicated for me along my journey with silicone. The first time I had issues with my silicone, I got real sick. Didn't know what was, didn't even correlate the two, right? Didn't even think this is because of silicone. I got real sick to where I started to run a fever. My breast swelled up to where you would think I just got pumped again. My hips swelled. They were so warm to the touch. So if I touched my breasts and if I touched my hips, the site of where it was swollen was so warm to the touch and red, red, red. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
started to panic. Immediately, I run to my mama. Mama, look. Mama immediately was like, you need to go to the hospital. I went to the hospital. Now, mind you, these medical professionals ain't used to many of us coming into the hospitals talking about issues and complications with silicone, let alone having black market shit injected into us, foreign things that they don't even know nothing about, that it's not their typical training in medical school. You know what I'm saying? So I have to go up in there not only, in a sense, embarrassed, right? Feeling kind of humiliated because now I have to sit before these medical professionals and talk to them about what's going on with me based off a decision I made, right? So I go to the hospital. It gets to the point to where every day for like a week, my fever 103, 104. I'm taking Tylenols and shit to try to, help with, but every day I'm waking up in sweats to where it was like I would have to change my sheets and shirt and whatever I had on kind of sweating. And that's because my immune system is in overdrive. My immune system is fighting an infection on top of other things that my immune system is now fighting, right? Because, for folks that I'm also a woman, I have HIV, right? That's just what it is. People that know me know I talk a lot about HIV prevention, other things. We'll get to that on another live.
Mm-hmm.
However, at that time, I'm not, again, thinking that this has to do with my silicone.
Yeah.
Well, fortunate for me, I was able to speak with a medical provider who was informed and aware about silicone. And when they looked at me, they immediately said, you have cellulitis infection. What the hell is cellulitis infection? How did I get cellulitis infection? They said, well, based off of the areas that is showing these symptoms, meaning that swelling in this and the third, your body is now warning this foreign substance that's in it out.
Yeah.
And so your immune system is doing what it's naturally and supposed to do. Shut up! Sorry, that's King.
You good, son?
But your immune system is doing what it is that it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
And so here it is. I'm in the hospital, talking with these folks, doing blood work, X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my first time. And mind you, at this time, this is well over a decade.
Yeah.
I started recently, meaning recently, maybe the past 3 or 4 years, experiencing these type of complications. Now, with talking to my provider, we knew that there were options, and the options is, of course, to remove it. However, the other doctors will kind of say, if it ain't really bothering you like that, don't really fuck with it.
Yeah.
Because the reality is when doctors go in, they're literally shooting a dart in the dark.
Yeah.
They don't really know what they're dealing with until they get inside you. And once they get inside you, they're literally opening up Pandora's box.
Yeah.
So you've heard for previous people who have been open about it. Nicole is another person who has been very transparent about her journey with silicone and getting it removed and this and the third. And she is one of many examples of horror stories of getting it removed, attempting to try to correct your mistake, X, Y, and Z, going to doctors who are just about taking your money or charging your insurance, not really worrying about you holistically, not really truly worrying about your well-being, but just only worrying about filling their pocket.
Yeah.
So you have these women and people who have been so forthcoming about their journeys, about the things they experience. and some have been fatal. You know, they have had a lot of girls who didn't even get up off the table.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have girls who not only deal with complications years later, sometimes the complications come sooner.
That's right.
You know, sometimes the reality is silicone is poisonous. If it enters your bloodstream, it can be fatal and has been fatal. You know, and if it doesn't kill you, you definitely gonna have a lifelong of complications, probably breathing problems and so on and so forth. These things are real.
Yeah.
And a lot of people be like, well, Malign, you know, your body looks so good. Because trust me, when I take these clothes off, when I'm not dealing with any flare ups,
Mm-hmm.
and thankfully I haven't had a flare up in quite some time because now I know what I'm dealing with and I know what I have to do to keep that down, right? So there is an antibiotic that some doctors will provide you, um, and you can take that to kind of keep that flare up from happening. Minocycline is definitely one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, there are other things out there that folks can take and they can't necessarily afford to really get in there and get to a doctor to start removing things.
Yeah.
Um, but that was the first time I've dealt with it. Like I said, I've dealt with it a few other times. Um, and it's not something that is pleasant, right? Like I said, anytime I flare up, I can't even get out of bed. Like I already know what to expect when I get the fevers and the night sweats and these things. So there are days so I can't get out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Thankfully, you know, my husband has been with me through that process as well. So, you know, he runs and does what he has to do, you know, to kind of help relieve me in my discomfort at times and this, that, and the third. But it's it's something that I wouldn't encourage people to go do. And I understand that people are going to weigh their options. I understand people are going to do what they deem is best for themselves. But I'm telling you, if you are only living or wanting to live momentarily in the moment, in a season, then by all means, sweetheart, do what's best for you. But I'm going to tell you now that you are playing Russian roulette.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you now that you might as well be considered suicidal
Mm-hmm.
because this is like what I consider milk. Some of us have whole milk, some of us have 2% milk, some of us have almond milk, but all milk expires.
Mm-hmm.
Sooner or later, it will expire.
Mm-hmm.
And you will, and the thing about it is what's so funny to me and what's so just crazy to me at the same time is that a lot of girls will swear by the silicone doctor. They will swear that, oh, I don't have anything wrong with me, this, that, and the third, when they're suffering in silence. When a lot of girls ain't gonna really be honest with you about their journey and what they got going on because it's embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
You did this. You made this decision. Nobody forced you to do this. And when I say baby, the session is unbelievable to people.
Mm-hmm.
You lay down, you let this girl inject you with God knows what. And when she's finished injecting you with God knows what, she seal you up with super glue, crazy glue, and throw some cotton balls.
Yeah.
This is the session. This is how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
This is and if she's a generous, if she's generous, bitch, she'll throw you some extra cotton balls and an extra tube of glue.
Mm-hmm.
Just in case one of them come off and you get a little leak, you know, this and the third. Because baby, you don't want to go through that whole session and then start to leak. You don't want, bitch, when you start to leak, girls that know, bitch, when we got pumped and we look down and we see whatever garment we got on, all oily and wet, bitch, we leaking.
Mm-hmm.
That's our money. That's our money. Oh no, bitch,
Mm-hmm.
let me patch this up. Let me give me this, hand me that glue. That's what it was.
Yeah. How much were your sessions?
Oh, now, see, my sessions was not as expensive as other girls, because at the time cause I had a good relationship with, so the girl who did my body and my girlfriend's body, wasn't just a random bitch that just was going from city to city, pumping us. This was a girl who we knew. This was a woman who we had built a relationship with outside of getting pumped, right? This was a person some of us considered TD and mom and sis and this, that, and the third, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and don't get me wrong, some girls have their favorites. Some girls have what they consider they proteges,
Mm-hmm.
right? That I'm gonna pump her up and she's gonna be walking advertisement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you do one girl right or you do a few girls right, other girls start to look, bitch, mama body is sickening.
Mm-hmm.
Bitch, who did her body? And at the time, it wasn't no fucking Dominican Republic and Miami and all this, because mind you, the girls wasn't there yet with resources and things that was accessible. It wasn't gender affirming care. They come up to years later.
Mm-hmm.
So she'll do you right. She'll send you out. And now you're walking advertisement. Anytime you do a show, anytime you in whatever space, you know, girls look at you and girls desire. Most girls desire to have a shape, you know, unless you into white men and you just going for that white aesthetic with just big titties and just no ass and nobody, and that's cool too. That's a look. That's a look. But most black women, most black and brown trans women desire to have voluptuous shapes.
That's right.
And yes, many of us do it because, again, most black women we see in our communities are very curvy. Most of the women that are in our family are shapely, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also, again, it gives you the rite of passage. And also it allows you to be able to compete. So when I got my body done, again, I was young. I was still doing sex work. I saw other girls who had got their bodies done and how all of a sudden clientele, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Oh, hold the fuck up, bitch. She could not. I'm on my
Mm-hmm.
way.
Yeah.
I'm on my motherfucking way and I'm coming.
Mm-hmm.
So, bitch, the minute you get your body done, the first thing you do, bitch, you out on the block.
Mm-hmm.
Bitch, you did all of this to be in somebody's back seat with your head damn near in the floorboard for probably 60 to $100.
Yeah.
If we're gonna talk about it, bitch, we're gonna talk about it. Tired of the hoes being on live trying to showboat like they was this. Cause mind you, when I started sex work, the quality or quantity of a dollar was a lot different back
Yeah.
then. This was in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. Cause mind you, I didn't start doing my due deals until after Hurricane Katrina, and Hurricane Katrina happened in 2005.
Yeah.
So I jumped out of the porch 2006, and bitch, I done ran all around the block.
Mm-hmm.
So mind you, that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And you was able to you realize that you drew the attention of different types of men, right? And most of my experience when I got all of this stuff done and I got all this shape and this, that, and the third, to where most of the men that pursued me were black men. They see that ass, they see them legs, they see them. That's who at mama's front door.
Yeah.
And I love my black men. Don't get me wrong. I love black men. Um, I understand black men, um, but I also avoid a lot of them by any means necessary.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother live too.
Yeah.
But, and I'm married to a black man. I'm married to a black trans man, right? We have a beautiful family. We have a 1-year-old daughter, and we're happy, but I'm not saying that I don't date black men or, so, but again, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
And that's what it was, and so the girl would hit the block and, you know, and fortunately for me, I've been able to get out of, a lot of things. I started to be able to move in certain spaces. I've been afforded many amazing opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
If folks know me, they know. Um, If you don't know me, people often ask me, how can I follow you? What social media platforms you're on?
Yeah.
You can definitely Google me. Um, my name is Malani Cole Sherry. You just type that in your Google engine, and I promise you, um, the things will pop up. So you can look at, if you want to kind of follow my work, the things I've been able to do and contribute to community just over the past 13 years. You can definitely Google that, and yeah, you'll be surprised to what you find.
Yeah, and I know
Um,
you're gonna be my first guest on the new show, Confessions, which
Your
talks about sex work.
story, your story touched me. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
You probably touched a lot of people and helped a lot of girls. People don't know that sharing your stories really do help the young and the youth. But some of these youth nowadays are very hard headed anyway, so who's to know if they were even listening?
Mm.
But most young trans women are going to doctors. Thank God that we have pushed them and showed them that you go to doctors nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
You do not do what we probably have done back in our days on the streets or what have you. I wish that they would have done what they're doing now for us way back then. Therefore, we wouldn't have had the choices that we had to make
Yeah.
to get to where we, wanted to be. It's so sad because a lot of girls would be here right now today. A lot of my daughters will be here if they would have did what you're doing now. And it's sad to me sometimes to even really talk about that. Because that underground silicone work was a mess. It has killed and put a lot of my girlfriends to rest. And it's just a sad ongoing story to me because I'm a Virgo. It's very touching to me.
yeah. And I can remember when Talia Cassadine, who started the Say No to Silicone campaign. And she's another person who has been very vocal about, her experience with silicone, and how a lot of pushback she got from a lot of girls for feeling that she was a whistleblower. How dare you tell these
Yeah.
people our secrets? How dare you
Yeah.
expose one of our kind?
Yeah.
How dare you? How dare you? Versus people saying, you know what? We can understand that some of these girls who do the work, who are pumping the girls, may feel um, that they are helping community, right? Because you have some people who really feel that the services that they are providing is actually helping us, that they are kind of playing God, right? And that they can be, you know, the person who makes your wildest dreams and realities come true as your little genie in a bottle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for
Yeah.
those of us who know and are going to be real and honest about it, no. Like, not saying, and I'm not saying that any of these people are monsters, and some of them are,
Mm-hmm.
because when you know that your product is killing people, some of these, at one point in time, people were mindful. Even drug dealers were mindful, right? They had some type of code of some morals and dignity, right? I'm not going to serve my people no bad shit, because the reality is I want my people to come back. See, some girls don't matter. The bitch, it's about $1.
Mm-hmm.
Bitch, they go make up whatever concoction and whip it up in a sink, pour it in a jug, and show it to you. Be like, bitch, look, this is medical grade silicone. Girl, get the fuck out of here.
Yes.
I'm not even about to even play with you or even entertain you. Because let's be clear, I was never delusional to think that the girl who I was getting my work done was a real doctor. Bitch, the bitch did shows and pageants and everything else. Like, she was not no doctor, right? I don't give a fuck how many body anatomy books this bitch done studied to try to use the human anatomy or learn the human anatomy. So, bitch, this hoe ain't no doctor. She ain't no certified MD.
Mm-hmm.
Because if she was, she wouldn't be risking her license doing this shit.
Yeah.
So, all of these girls, just because they go and purchase some scrubs from Walmart or some nursing shop, bitch, and show up in a little scrub set, understand what you're dealing with, who you're dealing with. And the outcome of the decisions you make can be fatal,
Yeah.
can lead to a lifelong of complications. And even if it's something that's very minor to you, right? Some bitches be like, well, girl, I can't really breathe. I got to get on a breathing machine, or I got to take a pump now, this, that, and the third. I can kind of manage, girl, but your quality of life has been reduced. Your quality of life has tremendously been reduced. You might as well go give up one of your kidneys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, your quality of life would not be the same. And so, yes, we can bump around, and a lot of girls go do what they go do. It's in order, and the girl's not gonna lie. I mean, girls ain't gonna. Most of the girls all they go do is lie. They gonna never really tell you the truth. But bitch, it's always a competition. Everything was about bitch, and that's what it was.
Yeah.
Now there's healthy competition, and then there's
Women
unhealthy
competition with each other. Real women don't get along, honey. What makes you think that we wasn't?
And so now we're in a space of who's better, who looks better, who has the bigger titties.
My mother
But
told
at the same time, many of us
my
do all
mother
of that,
told
but
me
still
that
be
right
trying
when
to.
I wanted to be a girl, honey. She said, "You want to be a woman? Get in the party."
And that's a whole nother story when the girls want to. Because, baby, some of these girls be so quick to drop their nuts.
Wow.
Let them be in certain spaces. Let them engage in certain conversations. Let them, baby, see how fast they drop their nuts.
That's a whole nother conversation, honey.
Yeah.
And I
Like
mean
my
not nuts
titty. I like
physically,
my
although some
titties at
girls,
the
you know,
top
some of us still have, you know, X,
and
Y,
my
and Z.
T
But
at the bottom, honey.
for the girls who still got their nuts,
I like my T at the top and T at the bottom, honey. Okay. Period.
but yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much, you know, my experience in regards to silicone. I'm going to highlight this one particular thing that I mentioned in regards to pumping parties, being the ones to host the parties. I had a girlfriend, a person who was really dear to my heart, in 2013. The same person who did my body did her body. Actually, the person who did her body she had already started her body years before I even got pumped. Mind you, this person, she went to prison for what she went to prison for. And when she got out, she saw a lot of the girls, you know, have started to get their work done. And she was ecstatic and excited to see the girls, you know, embarking on a journey, becoming a little young woman. But she also felt like, bitch, hold on. I got to get back and get some touch-ups and this. And mind you, this girl was already bodied.
Yeah.
If you was to look at her, you would feel like, bitch, you ain't need to do nothing else. But when you have a certain vision for yourself of aesthetic, you know, you don't stop until you feel it's you done, you know. And so she ended up getting pumped, and she was at my house. Things did not go well for her this time. I witnessed this with my own eyes. Nobody didn't have to tell me I was there. After she got pumped, it was a normal session. She laid down, she hit up, she threw the cotton balls on her, had like a 30-minute conversation afterwards with her, you know, just shooting the breeze, whatever. It wasn't until about 4, 5 o'clock that morning when things turned left for my friend.
Sounds like my daughter's story.
When I walked into the room, I noticed that my girlfriend was struggling.
Wow.
And her breathing, now mind you, when she was in a deep sleep, like most of us, bitch, we get, you know, we get our little 1-2s in. But this didn't sound like that. This sounded more so as if she was struggling, like she was drowning in this, like being smothered. And so when I woke her up, which took me a minute to get her up, and when she finally came to, she looked at me and her eyes rolled immediately to the back of her head.
Oh.
And so I'm shaking and she's kind of in and out of it, in and out of it. And I'm like, you okay? And she just said, I don't feel good. Before you know it, her eyes rolled back to the back of her head and she went unconscious. I immediately called the first person I called, all honest truth, the bitch who just left my house doing the pump. Girl, she's not immediately. She said, the first thing she tells me, don't call the police. I'm on my way. Mind you, bitch, she done already left New Orleans. She's halfway to her destination to where she was going to Atlanta. I cannot wait for you to turn around, bitch, to get back to my house, for you to figure out what's going on. I need to call the ambulance. I hung up on her. I called the ambulance. The ambulance gets there. They trying to, and I immediately, they notice, because the first thing, not only did she instruct me not to call the police, but she also told me to remove the cotton balls off her if I'm going to call the ambulance. Bitch, I paid all of that. I ain't got time to follow instructions. I'm in panic mode. I am panicking. I call the ambulance. Mind you, they get here. EMS gets to my house. They grab her. The first thing they notice is all these cotton balls. They say immediately, and then they're leaking at this point, right? So they put her up on they put a sheet under her to kind of help lift her onto the gurney. But when they put the sheet under her and they lift her on the gurney, when they released that sheet was so oily from her body. So now the biggest question is not only like trying to get her vitals and stuff going, but what is this shit leaking out of her? Anybody that knows me, that sometimes I can be too truthful. And that has been sometimes, my mom has always told me that, bitch, sometimes you're too honest. But I don't know other way to be. Bitch, I don't know other way to be. So I told the doctors what happened and transpired in my motherfucking house. At this time, I'm just trying to make sure that my girlfriend is okay. I'm not worried about protecting the bitch who did it, right? That's not even in my mind. That's not even in my thought process. My thoughts is, let me get her medical attention. If I had not got her medical attention, she would have died in my bedroom. If I not have gotten, although unfortunately, this is not a story where she had a miracle turnaround or, she got healthy. My girlfriend died. My girlfriend went into the hospital October 25th of 2013. She died January 1st, New Year's Day of 2014, due to complications from silicone. What happened was, when the doctors got her to the back and they did an x-ray, what they found was that her lungs was totally filled with silicone. She didn't get pumped in her lungs. She wasn't even getting pumped in her chest when she was getting this last session. She was getting her lower hips done again. And what happened was, she hit too deep. She got into her main artery, her main vessel, her bloodstream. Her main vein. And immediately as she's pumping directly into her bloodstream. And anybody that knows your bloodstream, if you knows your body, your bloodstream is like the highway express to your heart and main organs of your body.
That's right.
And so when the silicone entered to her bloodstream, it was just like a boat that float upstream. And the way it settled at was in her lungs. It poured into her lungs. And that's why she was suffocating the way she was, because she was not able to breathe.
Oh, girl.
They medically sedated her. She stayed medically sedated for almost 2 months. She didn't come out of being medically sedated, or what they consider a coma. She didn't come out of a coma until days before Thanksgiving. So to watch her be hospitalized, to watch her have all these tubes down her throat, to watch all of these doctors surrounding her running tests, because mind you, none of them are familiar with silicone. All of this is new to them, and they're doing their best. They are doing their best to try to keep her alive.
Mm-hmm.
But what ended up happening was, because there was so much damage to her internal organs, i.e., her kidneys start to fail. And when they failed, she died. And so her name was Bree. God rest her soul. She passed January 1st, 2014. It is 2024. She has been officially dead a decade now. She has not been here for 10 years. And there's not a day that does not go by that I don't think of her. Every New Year's, it's a struggle, because that is a day that's constantly reminded of someone who I truly loved, someone who I knew was an angel sent, was taken, was not able. And the thing about it was so crazy, because she always talked about, like, in joke and reference, like, bitch, this shit gonna take me out. Because she was so just obsessed with getting pumped. Like, again, the girl was voluptuous. She was already shapely. And then she just had this obsession of just getting it done. You know, and there was nothing you could tell her. There was nothing you could tell her that would persuade her for not getting it done. And even before she died, because again, she came out in the coma days before Thanksgiving. And so I was by her bedside every fucking day, having to deal with detectives, because that's a whole nother fucking situation. When I tell you, baby, don't be doing that shit. Don't be hosting this shit in your house. Don't be, because baby, you can find yourself in fucking serious situation. It's not just about getting pumped or this harmless thing that people think it is. People think that it's harmless, like, oh my, but there are people's lives who are at stake. And every trans woman is not no thrown away ass bitch who's just been thrown to the street, to the wolves, who don't have family support, who don't have a tribe behind them. Bitch, something happened to me, you best believe this. Bitches riding 10 toes down.
Right.
They gonna ride 10 toes down. Anything happens to me, I have a family who ain't gonna let up until they get the answers. You understand? So I know that every girl ain't thrown away. I know that every guy ain't thrown away. I have met people who, and their families and their moms, who I'm very cool and close with, that there are people who have support. They have people who have a village behind them. As all this is going on, detectives is also at my motherfucking door. As all of this is going on, detectives is now interviewing, questioning me. Here I am. I'm just thinking, bitch, wait, I ain't do, wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Do you not understand the severity of those charges? No, no, bitch, this ain't no disturbing the peace. No, bitch, this ain't no simple theft. No, bitch, this ain't no, girl, this is this is murder. This is negligent homicide. Do you understand? This is negligent homicide. Meaning, no, you didn't intentionally mean to kill this person, but you were involved and responsible. Mm-hmm. It was negligent, i.e., negligent homicide. And depends on which city or state you're in, bitch, those sentences can vary.
That's right.
Those sentences could vary. You could find yourself in a world of trouble, bitch. In a world of trouble, whether you doing the pumping or whether you just in proximity of the bitches that's doing it, or if you just provided the space for them to do it. You could be just as guilty and responsible for that person's death. So while people think it's all fun and games, while people think it's, oh girl, it happened to me. There's a whole article written about it. I know. I was there. Mm-hmm. You know what they said? Yes. That I turned my apartment into a makeshift operating room.
Wow.
That's what they said. That's what they said. Thankfully, I had a great team behind me. I had lawyers. I had everything ready to go. Because bitch, I'm young. Bitch, I got a lot of odds stacked against me too. Bitch, I too laid there and got punked. And the thing that really, really saved me out of all of it is because of my transparency with the detectives and also understanding that this was consensual. It's a consensual, as crazy as it is, because bitch, telling them what happened, what transpires, and the whole idea of getting pumped. Baby, these people didn't know, bitch. They used to running down criminals with carjackings and all these other things. Baby, the last thing they ever dealt with is somebody being a doctor, giving out injections in the community that's killing people. Bitch, what?
Mm-hmm.
This is my story. This is my truth. This is what I've been through. So yeah, as much as I may have a beautiful shape, and it's so awkward when I see this person today, because this person she avoided jail time. She did not go to prison. However, she got some extensive probation because the judge was able to look at the entire situation whole, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, accountability needs to happen, bitch, right? Yes, it's a crime of what you're doing. But I can understand and take into account that it wasn't intentional, right? I can take into account that it was consensual.
Mm-hmm.
So taking all of these things into account, taking all of these things into consideration, she didn't go to prison. Yeah, she had to deal with some public scrutiny. Yeah, she had to deal with some bitches side-eyed her. Yeah, she had to deal with the whispers and this, that, and the third. But guess what we had to deal with? The loss of our loved one, intentional or not. And that's why I'm not so angry with her or enraged or this and that. Because one, I knew what the fuck we were doing. And I knew the dice we were rolling, right? But I also know that that situation wasn't intentional, right? I knew that it wasn't something that she went and purposely did, that she had like this vendetta against Bree or, I'm going to get this bitch by, it was none of that. It was none of that. But the reality stands that someone's life is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, that would stop me dead in my tracks. Because Lord knows if that situation would not have happened, it probably would have been me. I probably would have been the example. However, I have a nice shape. People that know me, people that have seen me know, like, bitch, yeah, the girls like to sound very statuesque and all of those things. But this body, I had a different body in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Bitch, I wanted the old ignorant something. That was I wanted to be able to, my body to where I put on jeans, but it don't even fit my waist. That's how, yeah, one of those ignorant ones. I'm so content and happy with the shape I got. It's so natural. It fits my aesthetic. It's proportionate. I'm happy I stopped where I stopped. I'm happy that I received the life lesson that I received, and I received it. What happened, I ignored it and continued to let I know for best. No, it happened. I received it wholeheartedly, and I made some changes moving forward.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. If folks got questions for me, if folks, I've been seeing a lot of the comments. I haven't really paid attention to them because I don't like to kind of just get distracted and stuff. So I have seen people in the comments. But if folks have any questions, if folks want to come on, jump on and join, and we just have a little won't.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. But did you have any questions for me, Lyric, before? Like, is there anything I didn't touch
I want
on?
to tell the people also too, sometimes a lot of people don't know what is being put in their body, because a lot of times they don't say. So can you give them a little
Right. So the thing is, you don't know until you'll get a biopsy.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's when the doctors are able to go in, take a little bit out, and run some tests on it.
Mm-hmm.
For folks who have already had it done, they can tell you. The doctors on Botch, I mean, for those that watch Botch, We've had a few of our trans siblings and sisters and folks on there that may be very familiar to some people who went on that journey to get some of their silicone removed.
Mm-hmm.
The doctors that can tell you that based off of some of the things that they have taken out and sampled, it's been various different things.
Mm-hmm.
Girls are using various different things to mix up. I can't tell you that it's specifically one thing because I know it's a concoction of a few things. It may be a little baby oil. It may be a little cork, little things. It may be like, bitch, trust and believe it ain't fucking silicone. Don't let these bitches tell you these lies about it's silicone, bitch. These bitches is lying. If she's starting off with a lie already, bitch, you should just punch that hole in her throat. Because, bitch, just take off and haul off and just punch her right there. That's all you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't silicone, boo. It's some shit that the bitch done made up in her motherfucking sink. I promise you.
Mm-hmm.
I promise you. All that, oh, it should look this color. It should taste this way. First of all, bitch, who about to dip their finger in silicone and taste?
Mm-hmm.
The doctors ain't even. What the fuck is you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's supposed to not have a taste, or it's supposed to look this color, this and a bitch. I done had a bitch, the same girl that I talked about, who did my body and I was. One day we was getting pumped. Matter of fact, it might have even been me that did getting pumped. But I remember her spilling a glass. Now, mind you, the girls, this is another thing, how they measure you when you get pumped. They measure you by glasses, bitch. And I'm gonna get some other different examples real fast. Hold on.
Okay. While she's coming, if anybody got any questions or would like to come online, please hit that little man or
So, bitch, these are your options.
yeah.
Hold on. Do I got a shot glass in there? I only got a shot glass in there. But bitch, it all boils down from a glass this size to a glass that size and to a glass this size. Now, as you can see, it's a little taller than that one.
Yeah.
There's also shot glasses. Now, the shot glasses come in when girls just want to get little certain things done, like their face and all other shit. She ain't about to fill up her glasses for your face unless you going for just to have a big face, bitch. So if you going for a big face, she might get you one of these. If she pull this out for your face, punch her. For those people that still want to go and get their fucking shit done. I don't promote it, but I know, like I said, girls are going to go do what they're going to do. Don't let her put the shit in you, period. But this is it. So you get a glass this size, you get about a glass that size, and then you get it. Now you can buy the gallon too, because they sell it by the gallon. You can buy the gallon. Now, if you that girl that got that coin that want to buy the gallon, it's just gonna run you a couple of $1,000. But she'll take that whole. First and foremost, if a bitch trying to put a gallon of silicone in you at one time, punch in the throat. She playing with you. Bitch, your body can't even hold that much. You never, and the girls will tell you, you're always supposed to go small in increments and this, that, and the third. Don't ever let them overfill you, this, that, and the third. However, viewer discretion is advised. So you get this glass. Now, this glass right here, for average glass like this, may run you $500. She's going to fill you up. It's a $500 glass. That's a $500 glass. Now, say this is a silicone. Say that's silicone. This is your glass. This is your glass. This is your glass. That's what you have to work with. Now, she's going to put all of this in wherever you decide to put it in. Now, mind you, this right here may be for your breasts, for your base treatment of your breasts, because what she does is she's going to hit you here and she's going to go around. So that's enough to give you a base treatment for your breasts. Nothing major, just get you a little 1-2. Now you go to her with a 800 to 1,000, you could definitely get you one of these. She'll fill that up. Now mind you, see if I take this and put it here, although a little bit wasted, that's only half, right? So you get a little more of what you got going on. And so on and so forth. That's how she measures your sessions. That's how she measures the silicone. How much she's putting in a person. Now, mind you, a cup like this is good enough for like your hips, your lower area. She may do, now you're going to need 2 cups for this. For one cheek and the other cheek.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to have for that. And once she gets started, bitch, you got to let her finish. Because or not, your body going to be whopped, unproportionate. You don't want that. So most girls, once they lay down, once that initial, they committed. They're committed to seeing it through. And like I said, for those of us that have been under the needle a few times, that first time is like that okay, this ain't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. Now, the difference between the first time and the second and third time, it does get a little bit more uncomfortable in regards to the sessions, because mind you, by this time that silicone done kind of settled, that they use the word settled. And so when you're going back into that area, you're going back into that you're putting new silicone on top of old silicone, and you can literally feel that shit like you feel.
Yeah.
It's a different little feeling. Again, it ain't nothing that's gonna have you laid out screaming and hollering, unless you just one of those type of girls that just scream and holler. But yeah, and each time gets a little bit more, but you kind of know what to expect after a while. And just like anything, for those of us that take HRT, every first couple of times you did your shots, maybe like, ooh, girl, that's a little uncomfortable. But after a while, it don't even bother you no more. You just know what to expect. You know what to go, and that's just that. But yeah, in regards to the question you asked, you just don't know. You just have to get a biopsy. The doctors will have to run some tests on it and see what substance it is that person has put inside you. I know I was watching Nicole and Niambi and Denise live one time around silicone. And again, I'm so happy in that these ladies have been so transparent about their journey, especially again Nicole. But Denise did mention something that I kind of like, wait, hold on, that's not accurate, or that's not right. When it comes to silicone, there was a conversation in regards to when your breast starting to harden, or when the silicone starts to harden, mainly like in the breast. She said that, you can soften that silicone back up by pressing it and breaking it down. That is not true. You will find yourself in excruciating pain, unnecessary pain. You may even cause yourself further damage that is already being done. Because when scar tissue, when what happens is your body alerts your immune system that there's an intruder. So it sends so what ended up happening is your body ends up capsulating the silicone, or the foreign substance that's in our bodies. That is our body way of protecting the rest of the body and holding that foreign substance as a prisoner in that section, right? When that scar tissue, which is what the doctors would consider scar tissue, harden up, there is no breaking scar tissue down.
That's right.
Doctors will tell you, even for doctors who have been inside of people that have silicone, some of their surgical tools can't even cut through some of the material. And they have tools that are meant to, and if their tools can't even cut through this foreign substance and this and the third, which is why sometimes they have to remove and cut deeper into the muscle. So that's why you have a lot of girls who are disfigured trying to get the silicone removed, because they think like, oh, I could just get it removed and I just at least have the somewhat of a normal ass. Fat, your ass will never be normal. Unless, and it's a lot of surgeries that take place after the fact, which is reconstruction surgery, to kind of build you back up. And it's kind of like what Kate Michelle had, right? But they take a huge chunk sometimes of your muscle out, because the silicone has attached itself to the skin, to the muscle, to other things. So sometimes they have to cut it out. Yeah. They don't sit up. You cannot break it down. You cannot. Don't do that to you. Do not listen to everybody that talks about this, right? Because that was misinformation that she put out there when it came down to that. I don't want to ever see girls hurt themselves trying to take advice from, no. And if you're uncertain, go talk to a medical professional. Go talk to your doctor. But I can definitely tell you that they would not advise you to be pushing, squeezing on your breast, doing all, like, no. If your breast is hard, Girls' breasts firms up even when they get these professional implants, right? It's just how your body reacts to certain things that's in it when it's introduced to foreign things. Just like some people get cuts and they have surgeries and they keloid. Everybody don't keloid after surgery, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have people who keloids, and if you're a person who keloid, then any surgery you have, you will keloid.
Yeah.
So that's just, we just need to know this information. Again, I don't ever want to see people doing things that they will later regret, that they will later want to reconsider. And
And
that's just what the purpose of me coming live today and being a part of, this conversation is just to lay it all out.
let them know what happens when the silicone attaches to your muscles and you want to get it removed.
Well, what happens when your silicone attaches to your muscle? So before I say that, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of girls happen. So if you ever seen girls, right? And I'm gonna pull my camera down just a little bit. I'm not gonna show you my entire breast, but you can kind of see here.
Mm-hmm.
You see this space here. You see that cleavage area. There's a lot of girls that you will see what they consider a uniboob.
Mm-hmm.
They got this little crazy mass situation going on, built up in his chest. Some of y'all have seen some girls. I'm not gonna say any names because I don't want to feel like I'm being messy or putting a particular person on blast. But there's this uniboob that kind of develops here. A lot of girls wouldn't tell you that comes from oftentimes girls getting pumped in their chest and not even having breasts to start off with, right? Or having breasts but putting too much silicone inside of them that their breasts can no longer compensate, and it starts to migrate in other parts of their body. That also has a lot to do with girls getting silicone and immediately want to do this. Every girl wants to have this push and sit their titties up and this, that, and the third. When you have fresh silicone in your body, when you didn't have it time to settle and get hard and firm up, it's still loose enough to move.
Yes.
So it migrates and it shifts. So when you constantly have fresh silicone in this position, you're forcing the silicone to the middle of your chest. Then you get this crazy ass unititty and you don't have this cleavage. You don't have, you have to literally put your titties in a bra to give some type of cleavage look. But you don't have that natural cleavage like this,
Mm-hmm.
right? You don't have that naturalness, that flatness that's supposed to be there. Then, my titties, they don't sit up as much as they used to. But, they're in a nice position now.
Yeah.
They're nicely
Mm-hmm.
settled.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's another thing. I've seen a lot that when folks have seen girls that got this mass sitting in their chest like that, it's silicone sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
That is all silicone that has migrated, that has shifted and settled in their chest. And even afterwards, something that the girl that told me when I got pumped, when I did my titties, she said, do not put on a bra.
Mm-hmm.
Do not put on a bra. Do not put on no padded bra. Do not put them girls up this, that, and the third because you will fuck your titties up. This is what she told me. She said, what I advise you to do is get you a bra. You may even have one already that got a wire in it, one that you don't even care about. You cut the padding out. You just want the straps and just that wire.
Mm-hmm.
You wear that wire. You wear that bra so that wire can help develop that cup, right? You want that. If you see women breasts, they have that cute, you want to have that cup, and that kind of helps shape and train your breasts, in a sense. And so, but when your silicone starts attached to your muscles, it's gonna do what it's gonna do. That's the dangerous about silicone. It moves. It can move to different your body, your silicone. You may have silicone. For those of us that have silicone, we have silicone in our parts of our body that we didn't even get pumped at.
Yes.
That's the real tea.
Yeah.
Bitch, so many of us have silicone throughout our legs, throughout our bitch, and that's not what we even. Bitch, we started off in our hips. Some of our silicone done dropped.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the effects of also silicone. It's heavy.
Mm-hmm.
It's heavy. So you also have to think about when we see it in a lot of older trans women or some trans women who have gotten their faces done extremely too much. Over time, as you get older, those cheeks drop.
Mm-hmm.
They start to sag.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So now you have that saggy, now you have that, you have that going on. It's the same way with your breasts. Like I say, my breasts used to sit up real. Over the time, gravity has pulled them. They have dropped. My hips and my ass, thank God, they still where they should be at. But who's to say 5 years from now? Who's to say where it's gonna be at? Right? Who's to say where it's gonna be at 10 years from now?
Mm-hmm.
Bitch, who's to say where the fuck it's gonna be at tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's just the God honest truth. But it's heavy. It's heavy. In the wintertime, it plays tricks. In the summertime, it plays tricks. And I'm gonna tell you what I mean by playing tricks. In the wintertime, when you get silicone, it gets extremely cold.
That's right.
You think I'm lying? Send a bitch outside that got silicone. If you're up north somewhere, send her outside right now. Tell her go outside for 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Then tell her ass to come back in here. Wherever she got silicone at, just touch it. Just touch it for yourself. Whether it's her face, whether it's her breasts, whether it's her hips. And I promise you, that body will be so cold to touch as if maybe you're touching a marble cabinet, a marble countertop. It gets cold. And sometimes even in the cold can cause little sharp pains.
Mm-hmm.
It can give you sharp pains. I'm not gonna never give you nothing. I'm not even here to front with y'all. I'm not even here to blow smoke up y'all ass. I'm giving y'all the God honest truth. It's tricky. In the summertime, it kind of expands, it kind of does its thing. It has its things. But in the wintertime, it's the worst.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from the South, so our winters don't get as near, and when I mean South New Orleans, I might as well be in Florida because our weather pretty much is on one accord. However, I've lived in Philly for 4 years? Bitch, my first winter, bitch, it almost took me out.
Mm-hmm.
The first winter, my God, today. What? Bitch, I ain't never felt my body, my silicone so fucking like, and that's when I knew. That's when I said, oh, wait, hold on. Bitch, I come inside. I've been inside 30, 40 minutes, bitch, and my motherfucking titties and ass still trying to thaw out.
Mm-hmm.
Bitch, I've been inside sitting here. I done rolled up, smoked my blunt and everything, bitch. And when I tell you my ass is still on thaw, baby.
So does it expand in the heat?
Yeah, so that's why I said. So in the heat, like I said, in the summer, in the wintertime, it gets real cold and firm, and this, that, and the third. Like, bitch, if you thought that, you would probably think some of the hoes got a face, some type of Botox and things, baby. The way they face be so tight. But in the summertime, it expands. It gets real. Like that's why folks' body fluctuates winter, summertime. Some girls get a little wider during the summer because they at least that's from
Mm-hmm.
I got a nice shape in regards to what I've had done. But yeah, in the summertime, the girl be shaping. But child, that's just me making light too of what the fuck I gotta live with. You know what I'm saying? It ain't always rainbows and unicorns.
Mm-hmm. If anybody got an answer, Milan, any question, would like to come on board and answer some things, hit that little man, and I'll let you in.
Hit the little button. Come on up.
But while
Come on up, honey.
But while we waiting, I know I don't want to switch topics right now. But since I just
Wait,
want to know.
Hold on,
Why?
hold on.
Wait a minute, we got somebody. Hold on, we got somebody.
Wait, hold on, because I knew you were people. Hold on. I knew it was coming.
Hello. hello, I'm back.
How you doing, Jack?
Hi. What's going on, love? How are you,
I'm really,
Africa?
I'm peaceful. I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful for your transparency and your honesty. It's really been enlightening and helpful. Um, what I am hearing gives me the impression that this could be a socio-economical issue. And I was wondering, do you notice that it affects Black women disproportionately due to the social economical disparities amongst minorities?
Yeah, I mean, it speaks. It definitely speaks to that. And when as long as we still have this one societal standard of beauty, that plays a lot into it as well. Just every day, you know, um, we always have this new image of what beauty is, right? So it's beauty is no different than any other trend. It comes and it goes. Um, but yeah, I feel one also, right. So let's talk about, like, yes, um, that was an option, but we've also talked about the fact that we um, have made a lot of progress within gender affirming care and the way folks can access it, and this, that, and the third. And I also am happy that folks have that option, but I also know that, again, every doctor doesn't have every individual interest at heart. Every doctor now, because insurances are covering X, Y, and Z, every other doctor is trying to get them a little piece of stuff, even if they're not well experienced in X, Y, or Z. Um, which is also girls as much as, and let's talk about the many revisions and complications that girls are having with professional surgeries. you know so it's kind of like a damned if you do, kind of damned if you don't kind of like thing, because every coin has the heads and tails. And whether girls go and get them done professionally, whatever surgery that may be, or whether girls go decide to do it in the back alleys, um it all has its pros and its cons. I think the difference between girls who are able to go and have things done in hospitals or clinics or other places that are more have a professional setting is that at least they have someone to hold accountable, right? Like, I know Dr. Reed in Philadelphia may be great to some people and may not have had the best experience with others, right? I know Dr. such and such, and these people um have the training or have the resources and things at hand, but is the work that they're putting out 100 all the time, right? Um so yeah, I mean, it's definitely.
And I know back in the day, in the 90s and the 2000s, it was a big thing because everybody wanted a big butt. Everybody wanted to have that look
Oh
of
yeah, that was the year of
the video
Freaknik.
vixen. Yeah, the video vixen look. So
Baby,
for
everybody wanted the Tootsie Roll.
yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So the second
And
part, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead, sweetheart.
Yeah, so the second part to my question involves, um, I mean, I think it's right on topic, referring to like professional care and holding people accountable. I've heard horror stories regarding um, specifically the women going overseas to have things done because financially they could not afford. I mean, because originally for the BBL, the girls had to go to Brazil to get it. And then Mexico and all these other places, where Colombia were offering these services before the US really got to it. And so it's so expensive here. The aftercare is expensive. The fajas are expensive. The everything is just so expensive. And so I'm just I'm really just seeing this as somewhat of a civil rights issue. And even just um, how our transitions are, they medically being supported by insurances and things. Um, I think the I think we need to push it a little bit further so that certain other things are covered as well. And I know we can only push the needle mark, but so far at a time. But I'm just curious what you think about, you know, this day and age. We're talking 2024. Girls going to, Colombia or wherever else, Thailand, to have these procedures. What do you feel about it? What kind of encouragement do you have for girls who can't afford to have the body that they want to have?
So my thoughts around girls going overseas versus getting things done in the States. Of course, we know in other countries, FDA regulations and things that they're required in X, Y, and Z is non-existent, and sometimes or even just there's a lot of wiggle room. In the States, doctors are more cautious in regards to things that they're putting in your body. Although we know that doctors in other countries are like, bitch, we're gonna get it, whatever her body can take, we're gonna fill up. And the reality is too, and girls that have went to other countries have also died. Every girl didn't make it home from Dominican Republic or from Thailand or from, these other places. For i.e. example, Kelly Harper. Folks may not be familiar with Kelly Harper, but Kelly Harper, while we were on a conversation of pumping and silicone, Kelly Harper was very legendary in Philadelphia's community for various different reasons. But one of the things she was known for as well is pumping the girls. And if you saw Kelly Harper was very much built like a lot of like a lot of the Braxtons, that a lot of girls, that very small waist, very
Hippie.
animated body.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, things that probably only look really good in jeans or in clothes. But Kelly Harper died going out of the country trying to get the silicone out of her body that she put in herself and as well as the many other girls to get it removed. And she died on that operating table.
Hmm.
And so my thing is this: love yourself. Love on yourself. A lot of things has to do. I would love to say that girls go and get these things done for them, but they don't, because I didn't do it for me initially. I had to learn, right? I had to learn to appreciate and to value my body. If I could do things over again, bitch, you best believe, hell yeah. Especially if I could have waited, if I would have known what I know today, if I only expected to live to see the day, baby, trust me and believe it, my life would have been mapped out so differently. But that's the choice I made back in 2000 yonder, and it's something that I live with today. I would just encourage girls to love on yourself, baby. This, let me tell you, and if you're doing it for boys, if you're doing it for bitch, you're doing it for, you definitely needs to be chopped in your throat, because the reality is you can do all this thing for a nigga and he still will go fuck something else. Don't do it for them. If you think that, oh, I'm gonna be able to, girl. Even we all, I can tell you myself personally again, as y'all can see, I'm far from an ugly girl, far from that. And in certain departments, I have no issues at all. And I never forget, I'm standing in a group of my girlfriends, and Trade is over there off in the distance, and he just giving us the googly eyes and all the things that are things. And I'm like, ooh, bitch, I know I'm about to break this one up, honey, baby. Come to mama. Bitch, when I tell you, Trade walked right past me and went to something that I deemed, oh no, broke my little face, broke my little heart, got me together. Because I just thought that I was the ooh la la sensation. Baby, Trey don't give a fuck about it. The boys don't care about all that. You can have all of these things, be the baddest bitch. And I'll tell you, if the queen, Beyonce, can be cheated on, then bitch, none of us stand a chance. So that's just that. Like, do it for yourself. Love yourself. If you're gonna go to these places, do your research. Don't just look into something for a couple of days. Talk. Weigh your options. If you go out of the country, I don't never recommend that you do it by yourself. Always go out somebody with a travel buddy, because if something happens, they gotta have a survivor. We have to have a survivor. Every horror movie has to have a survivor. Somebody gotta live to tell a story. So if you go out of the country, definitely go with a buddy. Communicate with your family, friends, where you're going, who's supposed to be doing what time you're supposed to be there, all the things, all your logistics to your trip, to your flights, all of it. Yeah, for the
they're still in
girls, like,
Oregon, out there.
even a lot of folks go over and, like, they go get their teeth done. A lot of folks run to the Dominican Republic and to all these other places to go get their teeth done. I'm all for a person doing what they need to do to advance themselves. But I also be like, damn, bitch, you didn't even take care of your original set. So I know that these, that's just me. That's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day.
Another day.
That's a whole other conversation for a whole other day. But
you definitely got to be careful because they're still in organs over there.
Yeah, that's another thing, bitch. Baby, you may go somewhere and you may not come back. That's why I said the buddy system is so important. You never know. There's different rules, different laws in every other country. Some people gag because they go to these other places and they still try to move and operate as they do in the States, and you will gag. Certain places, baby, women can't do certain things, right? Are not allowed to do certain things. Certain places, bitch, it's very much quiet time. You can't even talk on a train, bitch. They look at you crazy. Like, it's just, know where you're going, research where you're going, and I hope and I pray that your outcome is amazing. It's something that you want. It's something that you hope and desire. But yeah, understand that it's a gamble, and when you roll that dice, you just gotta know when to hold them, when to fold them, know when to run, know when to walk away.
Thank you for answering my questions. And the only thing I want to say left is thank you so much. And I would like to connect with you if I can have your name, because there's a lot of people tagged in this video, so I don't know your name.
Yes. Well, yes, I would definitely, once the live is over, or if you want to, you can go and do it now. But it's Melanie Nicole Sherry on Facebook. And if I don't see a request from you by the time this live is over, I just go back and I know that you was on this live, and I'll go ahead and send you one.
Many blessings.
Yes. Many blessings to you too, my love. Bam.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else want to come on before we end the show tonight? But wait. Before we do that, sis, I want to know why.
Why what, Brody?
Why? Why did she come back, sis?
Why did she come back?
Yes.
I mean, only she know why she came back. Personally, I wouldn't have came back. Personally, knowing what I know, knowing what I'm facing, I wouldn't have came back. It'd be different if the headline said such and such from such and such turned themselves in, right? But that's not what happened. I don't know why she came back. Personally, I wouldn't have came back. But you know what they say, every dog has his day. And we can only see how this plays out. I'm all about accountability, and what's disheartening about maybe this particular situation is it that it does involve someone who I truly love and care about, and who has done so much for this community. And we can never take that away from what Ruby did for the trans community, mostly the trans youth and individuals in DC and in the DMV area. She done a lot of amazing work. That's real. I think when it came down to housing initiatives and things of that nature, like, Ruby was someone that many folks looked to because she had something so successful going on in DC, and she was able to build it out um, in the way that she was able to build it out. Now, I have a different relationship with Ruby than a lot of other people. Again, I'm not from DC, didn't live in DC. Granted, other people may feel like she's a total monster and horrible. I don't know that Ruby, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have that experience with Ruby. Ruby has always been a loving mentor to me. Ruby has always been someone that I can call on. Ruby has always been someone who has showed up. And so this is my experience with Ruby, and this is not something that, you know, I've the proof is in the pudding. You know, for folks that know how long I've been around.
Mm-hmm.
So I may not be as active as much, or I may not be wanting to, you know, there's a lot of invitations I do turn down nowadays.
Yes.
You know, I don't care to have to try to minimize myself so other people can feel comfortable or X, Y, and Z. If I can't show up and be authentically me, meaning me being as beautiful as I am with a touch or stench of marijuana and Chanel, bitch, if I can't show up in my true authentic self and in my capacity, I don't want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a fuck who it is. BET, I let everybody know that anybody I have worked with, I have turned down invitations because if I feel like I have to minimize myself or not be my authentic self, I would rather, that's not a space I need to be in.
That's right.
I have gotten too far where I'm at today by being my authentic self.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that my cup of tea, I may not be everybody's cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm okay with that because like I said before when I spoke to you privately about it,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times that's a their problem and not a me problem.
Right.
Because for people to know Milan is to love Milan. And because I know one thing, I'm down to earth, I'm cool as fuck, I'm relatable, I'm approachable. Bitch, I always tell people, bitch, don't look at me as a role model. Don't put me on a pedestal. I'm a leader in my right that I own, but I'm also trying to just show up as a possibility model before my community, before my peers. Bitch, I don't think I'm better than nobody.
Mm-hmm.
I know I want better for myself, though.
That's right.
So I do what I need to do for me and my family and what's in our best interest. You know, so I show up with all of my personality, with all of my humor, but I also show up with the wisdom, the knowledge, the education when it comes down. Because one thing about it, and two things for sure, there's not many spaces that I can't be in where I cannot hold my own weight or hold the conversation.
That's right.
So that's, you know,
Yeah, we'll be
that's
waiting
just
for that
it.
documentary. We
Oh
definitely
yeah,
be waiting for
but we talked about it. So definitely, I think then that's where it's all gonna come out more. It'll come out in the documentary. Me and you both talked about it today. When it come out, we already talked about it. We know that like this situation is gonna unfold with Ruby, and I just hate that, you know, it led to this. Why Ruby did what she did, none of us can. Ruby can only speak to these things, right? And I think now that, you know, she's in custody and folks, there's going to be a lot of questions. Should she have nothing but time right now to answer those things? And so we'll see how this plays out over the next upcoming months. We'll see what they decide to do with Ruby in regards to whatever punishment or consequences that may come out from the things that they are alleging that she's done. Again, people can say that they're facts. People can say these things, but right now, like they say, everybody is proven innocent. I mean, everybody's innocent until proven guilty. So yeah, we know that these are her charges. We know that they have done their investigation and collected whatever things that they needed on their end. We know the feds or any police ain't just looking for you just to be looking for you, you know. So, and we also understand that it takes time to build the case, right? So now that things are unfolding, now that she's in custody, you know, DC, the district attorney, and everybody else that's involved, what I'm sure will be in deep conversation for over the next couple of days. And we'll just have to wait till the documentary comes out. I mean, I'm sure that there's going to be a documentary. This has been the biggest scandal in nonprofit history. You know, like, this is big,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I think this is also has a domino effect on so many other, and I think it's just not about Ruby, to be honest, but you know, any black or brown, especially trans women, it's gonna be a little
Yeah.
harder for the girls, especially, you know, because when one do something, unfortunately, the good has to suffer for the bad. Unfortunately, there is a domino effect. Of course, there is this, you know, so yes,
Mm-hmm.
because she was someone who was well respected and probably I think what took a lot of people back was that a lot of people didn't expect it to be Ruby, right? Or expected this to even be a situation right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it is. And so all I can do is just like many of you, see how things play out. But
Yes. She said the board is
only
also
time will tell. Hmm?
the board is also being sued.
With the Board of Casa Ruby are also being sued for the lack of oversight of the funds. Well, and that's the thing. And anybody that knows about nonprofit, you know, there's an executive director, there's a CEO, but there's always a board.
Mm-hmm.
And your board is the overseer of the organization. So your board is responsible for anything that happens with the organization. So that's why your board is so important. But that's why for me, I've been asked to sit on a lot of boards. I'm good, fat. I'm all right with that because I also know the responsibility. It ain't just for me to walk around and say, "Well, I'm a board member and I sit on a board of X, Y, and Z." Bitch, half of you hoes ain't about to get me caught up
Mm-hmm.
with your scams, your schwams, and this, that, and the third. Because a lot of bitches will, you know, align their board with their girlfriends and you know X, Y, and Z. But again, when you go down, y'all go down.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not surprised that they're also looking at the board because the question for them is, how could y'all?
Mm-hmm.
Who was overseeing what? Who allowed this to happen? Yeah, the board is as much as in a hot seat as Ruby is,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so, yeah, that's how it typically happens with nonprofits. You know, people be like, "Oh, I don't have a boss," but they have a board. You know, and their board is basically their bosses, which means a board can fire the executive director, can terminate the executive director, can lay the executive director off, even if the executive director is founder CEO.
Yeah.
You being a founder CEO don't even fucking matter. Girls have to understand it. I'm a founder, I'm a CEO, I'm this, that, and the third. And that's good. And you are those titles. You are very much that. But your board can very much take everything you built away.
Yeah.
And so it's nothing you'll be able to do about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the pros and cons within being in a nonprofit, you know, industrial complex, or just being within a nonprofit, you know, realm in general, is that it could be messy. It could be very messy. There's a thin line, a very thin line between certain things. And so you just got to tread lightly, you know. And of course, you know, that's not even a question for some people because there's a lot of people who would never even think to do anything like that, right? Because I love my
Yeah.
freedom. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like my freedom. I don't want to have to go and be sitting somewhere where when I don't have the luxury of moving about the way I want to move about.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm good.
That's right.
I could take a little 21-day setback. I was used to those because when I went to jail for my prostitution charges, you know, this 21 days, I was good for a little 2.5 weeks. I ain't built for nothing longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to tell you now, bitch, I would get in the streets, I would twirl a bitch, we'll be two majorettes. Bitch, we can go for what we know. Jail? I ain't built for that fate. I ain't going. I ain't going. I love my freedom too much. I ain't about to jeopardize that for nobody.
Mm-hmm.
In order for me to sit in prison, I'm gonna be facing a murder charge. It ain't even gonna be attempted murder. It was gonna be murder because I'm in a situation where I have to fight for my life.
Mm-hmm.
So if y'all ever see me rolling in somebody's central lockup, y'all already know that bitch. Damn, Melania. Yeah. Not for the hell of it, not for because I'm angry and I don't know how to control my rage or I don't know how to manage my anger or this, that, and the third or hit tribute to my mental health. None of that. When my mental health is in a certain space, I know I can go talk to my therapist or counselor.
That's right.
I need two people. I have two of them on standby. I talk to either one of those. I get that in right. Bitch, my mental health ain't never in too far off the edge of the cliff to where, bitch, I'm thinking irrational ass things. No, I may be pissed. I may be very angry, upset, and so on and so forth. But it's never in a space to where I want to harm somebody. Now, don't get me wrong. There's been times to where things played out up here, and I'm happy that they played out up here versus a reality, right?
Yeah.
Now, I can't tell you how many bitches I done probably, you know, whooped in up here, but it never left nowhere here.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, we'll see. We'll see, Brody. We just have to be tuned in, but that's where it's going. And that's how the documentary going to start off. They're going to sit there with Ruby and they're going to say, Ruby, it's the question that everybody wants to know. Why? And it's gonna go into the opening credits. It's gonna do all the things, and then it's gonna get into the nitty gritty, the meat and the potatoes. It might be a a 4-part kind of thing. They probably release 2 on one day. It's gonna be bigger. It's gonna be bigger than Wendy Williams. People thought that it was tuned in for Wendy Williams. Wait till the story drop on Ruby. It's gonna probably have moments where it's gonna have you crying, it's gonna have you emotional, it's gonna be heart tugging, it might be a tear jerker. Because again, I know Ruby isn't a monster. She did what she did, they're alleged she did what she did, but I know she's not a monster. I know that she didn't do it because she just completely said fuck, the community and X, Y, and Z. We don't really never know behind the scenes what Ruby was personally dealing with. And again, I'm not making no excuses for nobody. Again, accountability is happening. She is being held accountable. The DA and, everybody else is doing what they need to do on the ends to sort through shit. I didn't go to college to be nobody's public defender or a lawyer or anything of the nature. So I'm not even about to act like, bitch, no. All I can say is, now, if she would have went to jail because she got caught sucking dick on a block and they got her for prostitution or something like that, or maybe a little disturbing the peace, bitch, girl, you'll be all right. You're going to, woo-woo. This is above me.
Yeah.
This is above me. So I can't speak to what type of things she's facing, but I just know she's definitely in a hot seat. And yeah, I think the question is why. I think when we all kind of saw that article, we was like, what?
Yes. Yes.
Why?
Yes. Why?
And then a lot of people was like, good, bitch, they got her. I'm pretty sure the emotions went all over the place, this and the third. But however, often the first thing was like, bitch, I don't condone what you did, but girl, you left and they wasn't able to touch you where you was at. They wasn't able to touch you where you was at. But,
Yeah. It's,
that's just what it is. It is, it's, again, we'll just wait to see how that plays out.
yeah.
But that's that on that.
Well, sis, it's 11 o'clock, and we got to go. So let the people know who you are and how to find you. And if you want to put your cash app up, you can.
Oh no, I'm good on the Cash App at. I get my blessings other ways.
Yeah.
But however, my name is Melanie Cole Sherry. You can definitely find me. I don't my social media, pretty much Facebook is like the main platform I kind of use. Instagram is kind of like an afterthought. I don't really encourage people to go follow me there because it's not something I'm really active on. But if you want to just have another outlet to where you can that's that. But yeah, other ways, if people just want to just get familiar with me, who I am, the work I've done, I've been part of several documentaries that are traveling the country right now that are being played and featured in several different film festivals and so on and so forth. If you want to check out some of those, one of the documentaries I am in is called Cans Can't Stand. It's around the Crime Against Nature statue here in Louisiana. and how important it is that that law is eradicated. And so, if you want to get into that, you can find that on the New Yorker. Um, but you can go to Google and just type in the New Yorker. Go to their homepage and go down a little bit, and you will find the video there. I also have a documentary that's out called House of Tulip. It follows myself and my co-founder and director Mariah Moore. Um, it follows our journey in regards to how we started House of Tulip, the services we provide, and so on and so forth. So you should definitely check that out. And just go to your Google search engine. Google Milani Cole Sherry, MILANNICOLESHERRY, and you can find all things Milani Cole Sherry there. And so, yeah,
And
I
also,
love each and every one of y'all for taking the time out and tuning in. Again, thank you, Lyric, for providing this space and this platform for girls like myself and many others to kind of like, share space, be in space with one another, but also have very important conversations. So again, thank you for just being the genuine soul and light that you are. And I know that times things can get very overwhelming on your end. Understand that you have sisters and you have people who love you dearly, and don't just love looking at you, but truly love your energy, your spirit, and the things that you have to offer. I appreciate you so much, brother, and your existence. I appreciate you for supporting the girls in any way that you can. I know you get a lot of pushback from the boys, but fuck them.
yeah.
And you just continue to be you. You just continue to lead with that heart that I've gotten to experience and know. And yeah, just keep up the good work. I know you have definitely made a difference in so many people's lives by just showing up for them, providing them transportation to their appointments, seeing them through that appointment, but also just championing them throughout the process. So you are loved and you are respected and valued as well. And I appreciate you so much.
I appreciate you too, sis.
Yes, yes. And what folks don't know is Lyric is a person when I was talking to about my complications, and I was actually experiencing those complications at the time. Lyric did not hesitate to immediately connect me with other girls who that can be a valuable resource to me, but also looking into facilities and doctors himself that I could, be in contact with and this, that, and the third. So just going above and beyond. You don't just kind of talk it. You definitely, put your, what they say, money where your mouth is. People have to understand the difference between an advocate and activist. Advocates talk about it, activists do about it. And so I know that your hat fluctuates between the two, but I appreciate you showing up and doing the things that you say that you're committed to doing. So much love. And we'll check in after this.
Yeah. You make me cry.
Yeah, see Lyric, see you. He's definitely African. He's definitely dope. And I think, I know a lot of girls, a lot of people got their eye on him for various different reasons, and as he should. My brother's a hot commodity. He's definitely, anyone that ends up with Lyric is a lucky person, and I will say that because it's not too many guys that really truly values us and see us, and so y'all just have to understand that this person is very special. He is loving beyond words. The girls just have to understand that my brother's a top. My brother's a top. So as long as y'all can understand that, I'm sure that y'all will mesh just fine. But again, I love you, brother. Thank you for providing this space. Anytime you want me on as a guest, we could talk about various different things. I'm totally down, and I look forward to joining some of your future lives with other women to talk about X, Y, and Z. There's certain topics and conversation I will be in the comments,
Mm-hmm.
you know, especially around like, you know, I know the previous conversation that you had was around SRS. That's not my experience, you know, and I think for me, my agenda affirming stopped here with my breasts, right? That was my agenda affirming. That was my boom. That's all I needed to be good, right?
So you're gonna
But
be
for
my first.
each every individual who has been on as previous guests, thank y'all so much for sharing y'all journey. Thank y'all for sharing y'all experiences. Thank y'all for just being so open and honest. It takes a lot. It's not easy sitting above before people that you don't know or that you may just have like, you know, be familiar with to really talk about things that can be personal or private. You know, a lot of us are worrying about, you know, how people are perceiving us. A lot of us are worried about how folks are taking in the information. Um, but I know from experience how hard it can be just sometimes sitting before strangers or people that you don't know and letting it all out.
Mm-hmm.
So thank y'all for each and every individual before myself for everything that they have contributed to these conversations. Again, Lyric, I love you. Thank you again so much. I love each and every one of y'all. Y'all be safe. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all nights. Again, I'm available. I'm accessible. I'm not a person that's hard to reach, nor am I hard to find. If you feel my vibe, if you're looking to connect with me, definitely send me a friend request. I'm definitely um, open to having conversations through video chat or through Messenger or whatever. When we get close enough, you'll get my personal number. But until then, you know, I'm here. Bye.
That's us.